Powerful habits of unstoppable people. There's something magnetic about unstoppable people. You feel it when they walk into a room, that quiet certainty, that unshakable fire. They're not louder than others, they're clearer. They don't chase energy, they are energy. And here's the truth most never realize. They weren't born unstoppable. They were forged that way. Through rejection. Through failure. Through seasons of doubt. They built that fire when no one was watching, when every reason to quit was staring them in the face, and they stood back up anyway. So if you've ever felt behind, tired, unsure of your path, this message is for you. Because becoming unstoppable isn't about perfection. It's about momentum. And momentum begins here, inside your mind. You're about to learn how to rewire the inner game that makes the outer win inevitable. Because before success ever happens in the world, it happens within you. Let me tell you something powerful. The world doesn't stop the unstoppable, it simply yields to them. Why? Because unstoppable people have mastered one thing most never do. They keep moving when the emotion is gone. Anyone can act when motivated. But the ones who rise, they act when they're tired, uncertain, uninspired, because they've trained their mind to move regardless of mood. Think of people like Serena Williams, Elon Musk, or Nelson Mandela. Their victories weren't built on luck, but on mental endurance. They understood that emotion is a visitor, but commitment is a decision. Success doesn't ask, "How do you feel today?" It asks, "Will you still move forward, even when you don't?" Here's the secret. Unstoppable people don't wait for the perfect moment, they create it. They don't need permission, they give themselves authority. They don't talk about potential, they prove it through persistence. That's what makes them powerful. Not because life is easier for them, but because their mindset is stronger than their circumstances. Most people lose the fight before it even starts, not because they're incapable, but because they've lost the inner war. Your mind is a battlefield. Every day, thoughts of doubt, fear, and comparison try to sabotage your next level. They whisper, "You're not ready. You're too late. You're not good enough." But unstoppable people know, you don't silence those voices by arguing with them. You silence them by acting anyway. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you rewrite your story. Every time you move forward despite fear, you train your brain to trust your power. That's how inner strength is built, repetition of resilience. Winning starts long before the world applauds you. It starts when no one's watching, and you choose to keep going anyway. Because here's the truth. The outer world is just a mirror of your inner one. If you build confidence inside, you'll manifest victory outside. So stop fighting your circumstances, and start mastering your state of mind. We've all been there, that foggy place where everything feels heavy and progress feels impossible. You scroll through other people's success stories and think, "Why not me?" Here's how unstoppable people escape that trap. They understand that momentum doesn't come from big leaps. It comes from small, consistent steps. One action creates motion. Motion creates energy. Energy creates momentum. That's the formula. If you feel stuck, do something, anything, that aligns with your goal. Send the email. Write the page. Go for the walk. Make the call. Don't underestimate the power of a single move. Remember this, you can't steer a parked car. You don't need to see the whole road, just start the engine. Because once you move, even a little, life starts to respond. Opportunities appear. Energy returns. Confidence grows. Momentum isn't magic, it's motion repeated. And once it starts rolling, nothing can stop it but you. When you feel stuck, move anyway. That's how every unstoppable story begins. Let's get real for a second. You don't need more time, you need more energy. Because energy is the currency of achievement. Here's what most people get wrong. They think success is about doing more. But unstoppable people focus on doing what matters most with full intensity. They protect their focus like it's gold. They say no to distractions. They say yes to clarity. And because of that, they operate on a higher frequency, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Psychology calls it self-efficacy, the belief that you can handle whatever life throws at you. It's not arrogance. It's evidence, built through experience. Every small win teaches your brain that you're capable. Every challenge survived adds proof to your power. And before long, your belief becomes unshakable. That's why unstoppable people walk differently. They've seen what they can survive, and they trust themselves completely. You can build that same energy. Start by aligning your focus, feeding your faith, and eliminating what drains you. You can't light the world on fire if you keep dimming your flame for everyone else. Protect your power. That's your fuel. If you truly want to fast-track your success, you must reprogram the way you think about failure, struggle, and growth. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Because every challenge is a classroom. And the sooner you learn the lesson, the faster you evolve. The mind is like software. It runs whatever code you feed it. Feed it fear, and you'll find excuses. Feed it faith, and you'll find solutions. So make a decision today. No more default thinking. No more small talk with your potential. You're upgrading your mental operating system, one powered by growth, not guilt. Repeat after me. I am the architect of my mindset. I decide what stays. I decide what grows. That's how unstoppable people think. They don't react to life, they reprogram it. There comes a moment, quiet but undeniable, when you realize you were never chasing success. You were chasing becoming. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to be pushed, because the fire now burns from within. Becoming the kind of person who no longer fears failure, because failure has become fuel. Becoming the kind of person who is unshakable, because they've seen themselves rise again and again. That's the promise of this journey. That's the reward of the unstoppable mindset. You were never meant to just survive. You were meant to ignite. To live with purpose. To move with faith. To rise with resilience. And from this moment forward, you will. I am not waiting for the perfect time, I am creating it. My power is in motion. My momentum is my message. Every step forward makes me unstoppable. Now take a deep breath. This is where your journey begins, not someday, not when things are easier, but right now. Let's build the habits that will make you unbreakable. Chapter 1. Habit of Belief. Rewire your mind for greatness. There's a war happening inside you, every single day. Not out there in the world. Not in your job, your bank account, or your relationships. But in here, in the space between your ears. That's where the battles of destiny are won or lost. The people who rise, the people who lead, the people who break through, they don't start with better circumstances. They start with better beliefs. Every unstoppable person you admire once stood where you stand now, full of doubt, surrounded by reasons to quit, yet guided by a single quiet conviction. I will not let the story in my head be the reason I stay small. Because your beliefs are the architects of your reality. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you believe you deserve. So if you want to fast-track your success, your first mission isn't to work harder, it's to rewire your mind for greatness. Let's begin. Every one of us lives inside a story. It's the narrative you tell yourself when no one's listening. It sounds like, "I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. People like me never make it that far." These aren't just passing thoughts. They're commands to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious obeys. Your brain is like a GPS system. Whatever story you feed it, it starts steering your life in that direction. If your story says, "I always fall short," your mind finds ways to prove it. But if your story says, "I'm a learner, I'm growing, I'm unstoppable," your mind will gather evidence to match that too. See, your story doesn't describe your life, it creates it. It's not who you are that holds you back, it's who you think you are. So if your inner story has been one of limitation, it's time to rewrite the script. Right here. Right now. Start speaking to yourself like someone worth believing in. Because you are. You've survived things most people couldn't imagine. You've risen again after storms that tried to bury you. That's not weakness. That's proof. Proof that you are capable of more than your fears will ever admit. Limiting beliefs are like invisible chains. You can't see them, but you can feel them every time you try to rise. They sound logical: "I'm too old, I'm too late, I don't have the right connections." But what they really are lies that fear whispers in your ear to keep you safe, small, and silent. Let me tell you something powerful. Most of what limits you didn't even start with you. It was planted. By family, by culture, by failure, by comparison, by a world that benefits from your self-doubt. But you are not obligated to believe what you were told as a child, or what your past failures have tried to prove. Every belief you hold can be challenged and replaced. Ask yourself, who told me this story? What if it's not true? What would I become if I stopped believing it? Once you question the lie, you loosen its grip. Once you doubt your doubt, you begin to believe again. You can't attract greatness if deep down you believe you don't deserve it. That's why true transformation begins with self-worth. Psychologically, your mind always seeks consistency between what you believe and what you experience. If you secretly believe I'm not enough, you'll unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that says otherwise, just to stay consistent with your belief. So here's the shift. Stop trying to find evidence that you're worthy. Start being the evidence. Take action. Keep your promises. Show up one more time even when it's uncomfortable. Because self-worth isn't built through words, it's built through proof. Each time you follow through, you tell your brain, I can trust myself. And once you trust yourself, the world begins to trust you too. Everyone feels doubt, even the best. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise is not the absence of doubt, it's their relationship with it. Doubt can be a doorway or a dead end. When you feel it, don't resist it, reframe it. Say to yourself, this isn't fear, it's the signal that I'm growing. Every time doubt appears, it means you're standing at the edge of expansion. You're moving beyond your comfort zone. You're entering the unknown, and the unknown is where greatness lives. So use your doubt as fuel. Turn "can I really do this?" into "watch me." Every great success story begins with faith, the ability to see it before it's visible. Faith is not blind optimism. It's inner certainty. It's the whisper that says, I don't see the whole staircase yet, but I'm still taking the next step. Think of Thomas Edison, who failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. Or Oprah, who was fired from her first TV job. Or J.K. Rowling, who faced 12 rejections before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. They didn't wait for proof. They became the proof. Faith is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it grows. So when the evidence is missing, when progress feels invisible, keep believing. Because your faith is what builds the bridge your future will walk across. You can't think yourself into a new life, you have to train your mind for it. Just like muscles need repetition to grow, belief needs daily conditioning. Here are 3 powerful rewires to practice every day. Speak power, not pity. Every morning, replace self-criticism with self-command. Say, I am capable. I am focused. I am becoming. Visualize the unstoppable version of you. See it, feel it, live from it. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It begins to wire your actions to match the image you hold. End your day with gratitude. Gratitude anchors faith. It reminds your mind of what's working and magnetizes more of it. Consistency rewires identity. Identity reshapes destiny. Pause. Breathe. Right now, you have the power to rewrite the story of your life. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Mantra. My belief is my foundation. My faith is my fire. I am the proof that greatness begins within. And from this moment forward, you don't just believe in success. You become it. Chapter 2, Habit of Vision, Seeing Beyond the Immediate. Close your eyes for a moment, and imagine you're standing in a thick fog. You can't see 5 feet ahead. You take a few cautious steps, and then stop. Because how can you move with confidence when you can't see where you're going? Now, open your eyes. That's how most people live their lives. Blindly reacting. Surviving one day at a time. Hoping things work out somehow. But hope is not a strategy. And motion is not the same as progress. The unstoppable ones, the ones who move mountains, who change industries, who build legacies, they live differently. They don't wander through fog. They design their horizon. Vision is their compass. Clarity is their weapon. And purpose is their fire. Because once you know where you're going, no storm, no detour, no delay can stop you. This is the second habit of the unstoppable. The habit of vision, the ability to see beyond the immediate and act from the future you're building, not the present you're surviving. Let me tell you a truth most people never learn. Your life doesn't rise to the level of your dreams, it falls to the level of your clarity. You can want success. You can pray for it. But if your vision is blurry, your energy will scatter. Think of clarity as your inner GPS. Without a clear destination, even the best engine can't take you anywhere meaningful. Clarity isn't just knowing what you want, it's knowing why you want it, how it feels to have it, and who you must become to reach it. When you wake up each day and your mind knows where you're going, your energy aligns. You stop wasting time on things that don't fit the vision. You stop saying yes to distractions that drain your power. You begin to walk with direction, and direction gives you peace. You're no longer chasing everything. You're becoming something. That's clarity. That's power. A dream without structure is just a wish whispered into the wind. But a vision backed by design, that's destiny under construction. Here's the difference. A dreamer waits for motivation. A designer creates momentum. Think of Walt Disney, sketching his first ideas for Disneyland when he was broke and doubted. He didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. He took his dream and began to map it, brick by brick, plan by plan, step by step. He saw the castle before it was built. He heard the laughter before the gates even opened. That's what vision does. It lets you experience the future before it happens. And the more real it feels to you, the more inevitable it becomes. So take your dream and design it. Write it down. Break it into steps. Visualize the milestones. Create systems around it. When vision meets structure, miracles stop being mysterious. They become measurable. We live in a world addicted to instant gratification, likes, clicks, and quick results. But greatness has always been a long game. The unstoppable know that real success doesn't happen in microwave minutes. It happens in marathon seasons. You have to train your mind to see beyond the now. To play the game from a higher timeline. When others are chasing shortcuts, you're mastering your craft. When others are comparing, you're building consistency. When others are quitting, you're quietly compounding. Remember this. The longer your vision, the stronger your focus. Because distractions lose their power when your eyes are fixed on something bigger. Don't let the noise of the present make you forget the symphony of your future. Even with a strong vision, life will try to shake you. Obstacles, critics, delays, moments that make you question if your dream is even worth it. Here's what separates the average from the unstoppable. They don't wait for calm waters. They learn to stay centered in the storm. When distractions come, remind yourself, my focus is my fortress. It's not about eliminating distractions. It's about mastering redirection. When your attention drifts, gently bring it back to your vision. Just like meditation, over and over again. The more you practice refocusing, the faster you realign. Soon, chaos stops controlling you. You become grounded, calm, unshakable, like a mountain watching clouds pass. That's power. That's presence. That's vision in motion. Your brain is a theater, and your imagination is the director. Every thought, every image, every vision you hold plays on that mental screen, and your subconscious begins to believe it's real. That's why athletes visualize before they perform. That's why champions rehearse their victory in their mind long before it happens. Visualization isn't fantasy, it's mental training. When you visualize vividly and repeatedly, your mind creates new neural pathways. It starts preparing your body, your emotions, and your habits to match the picture you hold. Try this. Before you sleep tonight, close your eyes. See yourself walking through your goals already achieved. Feel the energy, the gratitude, the peace. Hear the sounds. Smell the environment. Live it. You'll notice something shift. Your motivation rises. Your actions align. You start moving like the person who already succeeded. Because in a way, you already have. Here's the truth. The future doesn't just happen. It's built, choice by choice, day by day, belief by belief. You are the architect. And every thought you think, every decision you make, is a brick in the structure of your destiny. If you build with fear, you'll live in walls of limitation. If you build with vision, you'll live in rooms filled with light. So stop waiting for the future to unfold, start shaping it. You don't need to see the whole picture, just lay the next stone. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your hands in the work. Keep your heart in the vision. Because one day, you'll stand inside the life you once imagined. And you'll realize, you didn't just dream it. You designed it. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. The fog is lifting. The horizon is clearing. Your vision is calling you forward. Say this with me. I walk by vision, not by circumstance. I see the future before it arrives. Every step I take builds the world I dream of. I am the architect of my destiny. And now, keep walking. Keep building. Keep seeing beyond the immediate. Because vision isn't what you look at. It's what you see through. Chapter 3. Habit of Emotional Mastery. Have you ever said something in anger that you couldn't take back? Ever made a decision in fear, and later realized it cost you more than you thought? Of course you have. We all have. Because no matter how talented, disciplined, or smart you are, if you can't master your emotions will master you. That's the truth. It's not the world that breaks most people, it's their own reaction to it. Life will throw storms your way. Unfairness, betrayal, rejection, delays. But it's not the storm that defines you. It's how calm you remain inside it. Emotional mastery is not about being emotionless, it's about being unshakable. It's the quiet power that lets you smile in chaos, breathe through conflict, and choose your response instead of being ruled by your reaction. And once you gain this power, you stop being reactive, and you start being revolutionary. Because when you can control your inner world, the outer world can no longer control you. Let's be honest, success isn't just about skill, intelligence, or strategy. If it were, the smartest people would always win. But look around. The ones who rise aren't always the smartest. They're the most emotionally stable. They can face criticism without collapsing. They can take a loss without losing themselves. They can sit in uncertainty and still make powerful moves. That's the edge. That's the difference. When your emotions are all over the place, your energy leaks. You can't think clearly. You can't perform optimally. But when you master your emotional state, you become centered, calm, focused. Think of a fighter in the ring. The best ones aren't the most aggressive, they're the most composed. They see clearly while others are blinded by adrenaline. That's emotional mastery. It's your ability to stay in control, even when everything around you screams for reaction. And make no mistake, in a world where everyone's triggered, the calm person becomes magnetic. They stand out. They lead. They inspire trust. So if you want to become unstoppable, start by mastering the one thing no one can take from you, your emotional power. Here's the science. When something triggers you, a comment, a failure, a disappointment, your brain fires up the amygdala. That's your emotional alarm system. It screams, react, defend, attack. But the part of your brain responsible for logic, the prefrontal cortex, works slower. That's why people say things they regret, send texts they wish they could unsend, or quit when they should have paused. The secret is the pause. That sacred space between stimulus and response. That's where your power lives. Before reacting, take a breath. Inhale, feel your chest rise. Exhale, feel the weight leave your shoulders. This short pause, even 2 or 3 seconds, is enough to switch your brain from reaction to reason. From chaos to clarity. That's not weakness, that's strength under control. When you pause, you gain perspective. You start asking better questions. What's really happening here? Is this worth my peace? What outcome do I actually want? Suddenly, the storm inside you becomes still, and from that stillness, wisdom speaks. The emotionally reactive are controlled by the moment. The emotionally mastered control the moment itself. Let's talk about energy, because emotions are energy in motion. Fear, anger, doubt. These aren't your enemies. They're raw power in disguise. The problem is not feeling them, it's misusing them. When you feel fear, your body is saying, something important is at stake. When you feel anger, your soul is saying, a boundary has been crossed. When you feel doubt, your mind is saying, you're stepping into the unknown. See what's really happening? These emotions aren't curses. They're compasses. Use them. Transform them. Turn fear into focus. Turn anger into fuel. Turn doubt into determination. When you do, you stop running from emotions and start riding them toward growth. Serena Williams once said that her power on the court wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She learned to use her nerves, her fire, her disappointment, all of it, to sharpen her edge. She didn't suppress her emotions. She channeled them. And that's your new habit. Don't suppress emotion, transmute it. Because what you bury grows bitter. What you face becomes fuel. Emotional mastery isn't built when life is easy. It's forged when everything goes wrong and you still choose composure. Pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. It shows you where your strength needs growth. Every delay that tests your patience is teaching you emotional endurance. Every failure that stings is thickening your skin. Every critic that doubts you is sharpening your focus. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. When you understand that, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" And you start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That's how the unstoppable are built, not in comfort, but in challenge. They become emotionally durable, not because life is easy, but because they refuse to stay fragile. Remember, steel isn't strong because it avoids fire. It's strong because it's been through it. There's a difference between caring deeply and being consumed completely. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's knowing you can give your best without losing your peace if things don't go as planned. When you detach, you regain emotional objectivity. You see things for what they are, not what your fear or ego paints them to be. Leaders who master detachment don't make emotional decisions, they make intelligent ones. They can love fully, give passionately, and still stay centered. The art is this: care with your heart, but decide with your vision. When you're emotionally detached, setbacks become feedback, not personal attacks. You stop being reactive, and you start being responsive. That's how you stay grounded while others spiral. It's how you lead without losing yourself. Even the strongest minds need a reset. You can't pour from an empty spirit. So build your emotional reset ritual. A simple daily habit that brings you back to center. It could be taking 5 minutes of deep breathing before your day begins. Writing down your emotions instead of bottling them. Listening to calm instrumental music or meditating on gratitude. Going for a walk in silence. Letting your thoughts settle. These aren't luxuries. They're necessities. Because clarity is born in calmness, and calmness must be cultivated. Do this daily, and you'll find that what used to overwhelm you now strengthens you. The noise won't go away, but you'll rise above it. You'll stop being tossed by emotion, and start directing its flow. Soft, steady tone, reflective pause. Breathe. Feel your power return. You're no longer reacting, you're responding. No longer drowning, you're directing. Say this with me. I am not my emotions. I am the master of them. I pause before I react. I turn my pain into power, my fear into focus, my anger into drive. Nothing outside me can control me, unless I allow it. Remember, storms will always come. But the person who controls their inner weather controls their world. Chapter 4. Habit of Resilience. Have you ever felt like life hit you so hard, you wondered if you'd ever stand again? Maybe it was a betrayal. Maybe a failure that crushed your confidence. Maybe a dream that didn't turn out the way you prayed it would. And in that moment, something inside whispered, "I can't do this anymore." But listen, the fact that you're still here, still listening, still breathing, means you can. Because the storm didn't destroy you, it revealed you. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about rising through it. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about standing tall even when everything hurts. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard, has one thing in common. They got knocked down, and they refused to stay there. That's resilience. That's your comeback blueprint. And once you build this habit, you'll realize, nothing can truly stop you. Not failure, not loss, not rejection. Because a resilient person doesn't break. They bend, they bounce back, and they build again. We live in a world obsessed with winning, but no one teaches us how to lose well. Yet, failure is the greatest teacher of all. Think about it. The first time you tried to walk, you fell. You didn't give up, you got up. That was resilience before you even knew the word. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's the process of success. It's how you gather data, sharpen your focus, and toughen your mind. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked how it felt to fail so often, he said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work." That's the mindset. That's strength forged in the fire of persistence. Every failure plants a seed, if you're willing to grow from it. Every fall gives you a chance to rise stronger than before. So stop fearing failure. Start using it. Because failure doesn't end your story, it edits it. And sometimes the fall you feared is the exact fall that taught you how to fly. Let me tell you something powerful. The world remembers winners, but it respects the comeback stories. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter changed the world. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. And Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before he became president. Do you see the pattern? Every breakthrough began with a breakdown. Every victory was born from defeat. What makes these people different isn't luck, it's endurance. They decided that pain wouldn't be the period at the end of their story. It would be the comma. Just a pause before the comeback. That's what resilience does. It turns tragedy into testimony. It turns wounds into wisdom. So when life knocks you down, remember, you're not starting over from scratch. You're starting over with experience. Here's the truth. Most people think talent or intelligence determines success, but that's not true. It's mindset. Psychologist Carol Dweck calls it the growth mindset. It's the belief that you can grow, learn, and evolve through effort and persistence. People with a fixed mindset say, "I failed, I'm not good enough." People with a growth mindset say, "I failed, but I'm learning." Do you feel the difference? One gives up. The other gets up. When you develop a growth mindset, setbacks stop feeling like verdicts and start feeling like training. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What's next?" This shift changes everything. Because growth-minded people don't take failure personally, they take it professionally. They use every hit, every disappointment, every delay, as a lesson to refine their craft and sharpen their soul. That's how you become unstoppable, by turning every obstacle into an opportunity for evolution. Everyone wants success fast. They sprint, they grind, they go all in, until they burn out. But life doesn't reward the fastest. It rewards the most consistent. Intensity gets you started. Endurance gets you finished. Resilience is endurance. It's showing up again and again, even when motivation fades. It's pushing through when you're tired, bored, or unsure, because you remember your why. The marathoner doesn't stop at every ache. The artist doesn't quit after a bad review. The entrepreneur doesn't walk away after one failed launch. They endure. And here's what's beautiful. Endurance builds identity. Every time you push past "I can't," you become someone who can. You start seeing yourself differently. Not as someone who tries, but someone who continues. And when you become that kind of person, success becomes inevitable. Because endurance is what turns your dream from a spark into a legacy. Let's talk about alchemy, the art of turning lead into gold. That's what resilience does with pain. You take disappointment, failure, heartbreak, and instead of letting it poison you, you turn it into power. Pain is energy. You can let it crush you, or you can convert it. Think of it like this. When life burns you, use the fire to forge your next level. When they doubt you, let that disbelief become your motivation. When you're broken, let the cracks become where your light shines through. Pain refines you. It humbles you. It teaches you what comfort never could. So don't numb your pain, name it. Don't hide from it, harness it. Because inside every painful moment is a message. You are stronger than you think. And when you believe that, when you stop running from your pain and start running with it, you become unstoppable. Pain doesn't weaken you. It awakens you. Resilience isn't just something you do, it's who you become. When you start seeing yourself as a resilient person, you stop identifying with your wounds. You stop saying, "I'm broken," and start saying, "I'm building." That's the shift. From victim to victor. From wounded to warrior. Building a resilient identity starts with language. Every time you tell yourself, "I'll get through this, I'll find a way, this is not how my story ends," you're rewiring your brain for strength. Because your words shape your world. Your identity fuels your endurance. So make resilience part of your DNA. See every setback as preparation, every hardship as training, every failure as feedback. And soon, you won't just survive storms. You'll walk through them like you were made for it. You've been through storms that others couldn't survive, but here you are. Still breathing. Still believing. Still building. That's not weakness. That's resilience. Say this with me. I am built for comebacks. Every fall fuels my rise. I don't break, I rebuild stronger. Failure does not define me, my response does. I am resilient, relentless, and unstoppable. Remember, life doesn't get easier. You get tougher. And once you learn how to rise, no fall can ever keep you down again. Chapter 5. Habit of Discipline. Motivation feels amazing when it's there. That spark, that rush, that surge of inspiration that makes you want to conquer the world. But then, a few days pass. The excitement fades. And suddenly, the fire that burned so bright feels gone. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes next week. And before you know it, the dream starts to collect dust. But listen closely. The people who win in life don't depend on motivation. They depend on discipline. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't need inspiration. It doesn't wait for the perfect time. Discipline acts. Discipline shows up. Discipline finishes what motivation starts. That's why I call it the engine of achievement. It's what keeps your life moving forward even when your emotions try to pull you backward. Motivation gives you the spark. But discipline keeps the fire burning. And if you master this one habit, there will be nothing you can't accomplish. Here's the truth. Motivation is like caffeine. It wakes you up, but it wears off. Discipline is like oxygen. You can't live without it. When you rely on motivation, you'll only work when it feels good. When you rely on discipline, you'll work even when it's hard, and that's where success lives. Every great athlete, every top performer, every leader you admire, they don't win because they're always inspired. They win because they're consistent. Think of Kobe Bryant waking up at 4 a.m. for practice, not because he wanted to, but because he decided to. Or think of Serena Williams training through pain, sweat, and exhaustion, not for applause, but for mastery. That's what separates average from elite. The disciplined from the distracted. Because discipline says, I'll do it, whether I feel like it or not. If motivation is emotion, discipline is decision. And decisions build destiny. Let's break it down. Why is discipline so powerful? Because every time you follow through on your word, even in the smallest way, your brain learns to trust you. You start building self-integrity. You're training your subconscious mind to believe. When I say I'll do something, I do it. That belief is priceless. It's the foundation of confidence, momentum, and inner strength. See, discipline is not about punishment, it's about alignment. It's aligning your actions with your vision, your daily habits with your deepest goals. And here's the psychology behind it. Every disciplined act, no matter how small, releases a chemical called dopamine. Not the empty kind you get from scrolling on your phone. The powerful kind you earn from progress. That's why every time you keep a promise to yourself, you feel good, proud, powerful. It's your brain rewarding consistency. So, discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It's about being honest with yourself. It's not about control, it's about commitment. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do what matters, every day. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is, I'll start when I have more time. But discipline doesn't need time, it needs intention. There's a powerful concept I teach called the 5-minute rule. It's simple. When you don't feel like doing something, just start for 5 minutes. Go for a 5-minute walk. Write for 5 minutes. Clean for 5 minutes. Read for 5 minutes. Because once you start, momentum takes over. You see, action generates emotion. You don't wait to feel ready, you act your way into readiness. That's how you trick procrastination. You stop negotiating with your emotions and start moving with purpose. 5 minutes can change your state. And one decision can change your direction. Discipline begins in the moment you decide. I'll start small, but I'll start now. Discipline isn't about superhuman willpower. It's about systems. The most successful people don't rely on self-control. They design their environments for success. Want to wake up early? Put your phone in another room. Want to work out? Lay out your clothes the night before. Want to eat healthy? Remove the junk before it tempts you. That's discipline in motion, creating friction for bad habits and flow for good ones. Because when your environment supports your goals, success becomes automatic. You don't need to fight your emotions. Your system does the work for you. James Clear said it best in Atomic Habits. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So build systems that catch you when motivation fails. Habits that carry you when willpower fades. The goal is not to depend on discipline forever. The goal is to make discipline your default. Let's talk about energy, because discipline isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you protect. Your focus is your fuel. And in today's world, distractions are everywhere. Your phone, social media, constant notifications, noise, opinions. But here's the truth. Every distraction steals a piece of your destiny. You can't build a masterpiece if your attention is scattered across 1,000 meaningless things. So start guarding your energy like treasure. Silence the noise. Create boundaries. Say no more often. Every no to distraction is a yes to direction. Wake up earlier than the world. Work when others are scrolling. Think deeply when others are talking. Protect your peace, because clarity lives in silence. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, with power, focus, and purpose. Here's something most people miss. Discipline isn't just about success. It's about self-respect. Every time you follow through on your word, you prove to yourself that you're reliable, strong, and worthy of trust. And that builds unshakable confidence. Because nothing feels better than being in control of yourself. Not of others. Not of outcomes. But of you. When you master self-control, you stop being a victim of your emotions. You stop reacting and start creating. And that's where real power begins. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about saying, I might fall, but I won't fold. The more disciplined you become, the freer you actually feel. Because self-control doesn't cage you. It frees you from chaos. Discipline is self-love in motion. It's proof that you respect your potential too much to waste it. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to be willing. The moment you choose discipline, you choose progress over comfort, purpose over pleasure, destiny over distraction. Say this with me. I am disciplined. I am focused. I do what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not. My habits create my freedom. My consistency builds my confidence. I am unstoppable because I am disciplined. Motivation lights the fire. Discipline keeps it burning. And once your fire becomes steady, you'll light up everything you touch. Chapter 6. Habit of Focus. When was the last time you gave everything you had to one single task? No distractions. No scrolling. No split attention. Just you and the mission in front of you. Because here's the truth. Your focus is your future. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and your results grow. Every person who built something extraordinary, every athlete, entrepreneur, or creator who became unstoppable, had one thing in common: unshakable focus. Distraction is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't destroy your goals overnight. It steals them one notification at a time. Every time you let your attention drift, you dilute your power. But the moment you learn to master your focus, you reclaim your fire. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. That's when momentum begins to work in your favor. Focus is not just about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, with intensity. Think of your attention as sunlight. Scattered light warms the surface, but when you concentrate it through a magnifying glass, it burns through steel. That's the power of directed energy. In the same way, your success accelerates when your mental energy stops leaking into distractions and locks onto one clear objective. When you focus deeply, your brain enters what scientists call the flow state, a zone where time disappears, creativity explodes, and performance peaks. This is where your best work lives. Steve Jobs called it the ability to say no to 1,000 things. Michael Jordan called it being in the zone. Monks call it presence. Different words, same truth. Focus is mastery. Focus is peace. Focus is power. Let's crush a myth. Multitasking is not a superpower, it's self-sabotage. The human brain isn't wired to juggle multiple complex tasks at once. Every time you switch from one task to another, you lose time, energy, and depth. Psychologists call this attention residue, a mental hangover from the previous task that keeps your mind foggy and unfocused. You think you're saving time, but in reality, you're draining your creative fuel. If you want to be great, stop trying to do everything at once. Do one thing like it's the only thing. Greatness doesn't come from being busy. It comes from being absorbed. You felt it before, that magical state when you lose track of time, and your work seems to do itself. That's flow. In this state, your brain releases dopamine and norepinephrine, chemicals that sharpen focus and boost motivation. You perform 5x better, think faster, and feel alive. But here's the secret. Flow doesn't happen by accident. You engineer it. You create it through deep, uninterrupted focus and clear goals. Here's how to trigger it. Eliminate distractions. One task, one environment, one purpose. Set clear outcomes. Know exactly what done looks like. Challenge yourself. Not too easy, not too hard. Give yourself blocks of time. 90-minute sprints work best. Guard your mental energy. No breaks for mindless scrolling. Flow is the hidden gear that takes ordinary effort and turns it into extraordinary achievement. In today's world, attention is currency, and everyone wants to spend yours. Social media platforms, ads, and entertainment are all designed to hijack your focus. If you don't protect it, someone else will profit from it. So treat your attention like gold. Be ruthless about what gets access to your mind. Set boundaries. Turn off notifications. Control your morning. Don't start your day in reaction mode. Decide what deserves your attention before the world decides for you. The moment you reclaim your focus, you reclaim your power. You stop being a consumer and start being a creator. Highly focused people don't rely on willpower, they rely on systems. Here are simple, powerful rituals to build your focus muscle. Morning power hour. Start your day with clarity. No phone, no noise. Just plan your top 3 priorities. Single task rule. One task at a time. No exceptions. Pomodoro rhythm. 45 minutes of deep work, 10 minutes of renewal. Digital detox windows. Schedule phone-free hours. Let your mind breathe. Nighttime reflection. End the day reviewing your focus. What pulled you off track, and how will you improve tomorrow? Mindful moments. Practice stillness. Meditation, breathwork, or silence resets your brain for clarity. Remember, focus is not about perfection. It's about progressive control. Every time you choose presence over distraction, you sharpen your power. True focus starts in your identity. Tell yourself, I am a focused person. The more you affirm it, the more your behavior aligns with it. Because focus isn't a skill you practice once, it's a character you build. It's how you move, think, and show up in every area of life. When you become the kind of person who protects your time and attention, everything changes. You become sharper, calmer, more intentional. That's when you rise above the noise and step into greatness. Repeat this to yourself. My focus is my power. I direct it where it matters. Every moment I master my attention, I accelerate my destiny. Say it again, with conviction. Because every distraction you resist is a victory. Every moment of clarity is a step toward mastery. Stay focused. Stay present. Stay unstoppable. Chapter 7. Habit of Consistency. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not loud. It's not the stuff that makes headlines or viral posts. But it is the one non-negotiable habit of every unstoppable person you admire. Every champion you've ever seen, every athlete, artist, entrepreneur, or visionary, they didn't just show up once in brilliance. They showed up every day, long before the world was watching. That's the real power of consistency. It's the quiet fire that builds empires. The unseen effort behind overnight success. The daily discipline that turns average into elite. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the smartest. If you can stay consistent, you'll surpass everyone who can't. Because talent sets the stage. But consistency builds the kingdom. Talent can give you a head start, but consistency decides who crosses the finish line. The world is full of people who started with brilliance and ended in burnout. But those who keep showing up, improving inch by inch, day after day, they become unstoppable. Consistency rewires your brain through repetition. Every time you repeat an action, you strengthen the neural pathway that supports it. Soon, what once felt hard becomes automatic. That's how habits are born. And when your habits align with your goals, success becomes inevitable. The best part? You don't have to move mountains. Just one small step, repeated relentlessly, will carve a canyon of results. That's the compound effect. Small, consistent actions multiplied over time create massive transformation. Ask yourself, are you consistent with what moves you forward, or with what holds you back? Because consistency is not just what you do. It's what you repeat. And what you repeat, you become. Momentum is like gravity. Once it's on your side, it keeps pulling you upward. It starts small. Maybe you write one paragraph. Make one call. Hit the gym for 10 minutes. But the moment you do it again tomorrow, you've started the chain reaction. Every small win fuels the next. Every repetition builds proof in your mind that says, I'm doing it. That's the secret to confidence. Not hype, not talk, but evidence. When you keep small promises to yourself, you start to trust your own word again. You stop negotiating with excuses. You build momentum, and momentum is power. So focus on micro wins. Don't chase perfection, chase continuity. Progress compounds when you refuse to quit. And one day, that small daily effort that nobody saw will become the success that nobody can ignore. Motivation is a spark, it starts the fire. But consistency is the oxygen that keeps it burning. The truth is, motivation will fail you. It's emotional, unpredictable, and temporary. But habits? Habits are mechanical. They don't ask if you feel like it. They execute. Here's how to build unbreakable habits. Start ridiculously small. Don't aim to read 50 pages. Aim for 5. Build success momentum. Anchor it to a trigger. Pair it with something you already do, like journaling after brushing your teeth. Make it obvious. Leave visual cues, a book on your pillow, your running shoes by the door. Reward the process. Celebrate completion, not perfection. Give yourself small wins. Track streaks. Seeing progress fuels dopamine, the brain's keep-going chemical. Forgive yourself fast. Miss a day? Fine. But never miss 2. The comeback is what counts. Remember, habits that outlast motivation are built not on feelings, but on identity. Tell yourself, I am the kind of person who shows up, no matter what. Because once it becomes who you are, consistency is no longer effort, it's instinct. Measurement is powerful, but obsession is poison. You need to track progress, not perfection. Progress keeps you aware. Perfection keeps you afraid. Track patterns, not just numbers. Are you showing up? Are you improving your form? Is your focus stronger? Those invisible gains matter more than any metric on a chart. Create systems that serve you, not stress you. Your goal is direction, not domination. Because the real victory is not what you achieve on paper. It's the person you become through the process. Consistency isn't just about doing. It's about becoming. Let's expose the biggest lie in modern success culture, the overnight success myth. Nobody is an overnight success. They're an overnight revelation built on years of invisible repetition. What the world calls luck is usually relentless effort, stacked quietly over time. Behind every viral breakthrough is a decade of daily grind. So stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. The secret is simple. Keep showing up long enough to give success time to find you. Every master was once a beginner who refused to give up. Every giant started small. The universe rewards consistency because it proves faith. Faith that says, I may not see results yet, but I believe they're growing beneath the surface. Consistency is proof that you trust the process more than your emotions. And when you keep planting seeds, harvest always comes. When you're consistent long enough, something magical happens. Excellence becomes predictable. You stop hoping for success, You expect it. You know that every repetition sharpens your skill, every day compounds your power. Excellence stops being an event, it becomes your baseline. You become someone people can depend on, and more importantly, someone you can depend on. That's when life shifts. Because confidence doesn't come from achievements, it comes from consistency. You can't always control outcomes, but you can always control effort. And effort, repeated with intention, creates miracles. So don't chase intensity, chase consistency. Anyone can sprint. Few can last the marathon. Be the one who lasts. Repeat this with me. I am consistent. I show up no matter how I feel. I trust the process. I compound progress daily. My persistence is my power. Let it sink in. Because the truth is, consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's not about doing it once. It's about becoming the kind of person who always does it. Every action you repeat plants a seed in your future. Every day you show up, you water it. And one day, without warning, it blooms. Stay steady. Stay faithful. Stay consistent. That's how you become unstoppable. Chapter 8. Habit of Adaptability. Thriving Through Change. Change. It's the one constant that most people fear, and yet, it's the very thing that shapes greatness. Every breakthrough in your life will demand that something old must end. Every new level will require you to release the comfort of the last one. But here's the truth. Most people fight change because they think they're losing control. They don't realize that the people who win in life aren't the ones who hold on the tightest. They're the ones who pivot the fastest. When the ground shakes beneath you, don't freeze, flow. When the plan collapses, don't crumble, create. Because the world doesn't belong to the strongest or even the smartest. It belongs to the ones who adapt. If you can learn to move with life instead of against it, you'll never just survive change, you'll thrive through it. We've been taught to crave control. Control of outcomes. Control of people. Control of the future. But control, my friend, is an illusion. The more you try to hold on to what was, the more you suffer when it shifts. The universe doesn't owe you predictability. What it gives you instead is potential. And adaptability is the skill that unlocks it. Think of it like this. Life is not a wall you're meant to lean on. It's a wave you're meant to surf. You don't control the tide. You adjust your balance. You don't demand calm waters. You learn how to ride the storm. Adaptability is emotional intelligence in motion. It's the calm mind that says, "This isn't what I planned, but I can work with it." When you resist change, you lose energy. When you flow with it, you gain momentum. So the question isn't how do I stop change? It's how can I use change? Because once you stop fearing uncertainty, you start finding opportunity. Change comes fast. Sometimes it knocks. Sometimes it crashes. And when it does, panic is the first impulse, because your brain hates the unknown. But listen, panic is just the body's signal that says, you're entering growth. It's the tension before transformation. So, how do you pivot without losing peace? Pause and breathe. When chaos hits, your breath is your anchor. A deep breath tells your nervous system, I'm safe. I'm in control of my response. Detach from the old story. Don't waste time asking, why is this happening to me? Instead ask, what is this trying to teach me? Scan for options, not obstacles. Your mind will default to fear. Train it to find possibilities. Write them down. Even one new direction can shift everything. Move, even if small. Action dissolves anxiety. Take one step forward, however small. Movement reclaims power. Trust the bigger picture. Every detour has a reason you can't see yet. The path doesn't always make sense until you've walked it. When you learn to pivot calmly, you stop being a victim of change and become a strategist of transformation. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. There comes a time when the old version of you can't take you to the next chapter. When the habits, fears, or routines that once protected you now limit you. That's not failure, that's evolution. Every season of growth demands reinvention. The question is, will you resist it or rise through it? Think of people like Oprah, who reinvented herself from reporter to cultural icon. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger, bodybuilder, actor, politician, philanthropist. Or J.K. Rowling, who went from unemployed single mother to one of the most influential storytellers on the planet. Each time life cornered them, they reinvented themselves, not out of comfort, but conviction. You can do the same. Reinvention starts with courage. The courage to say, "The old me was good for that season. But now, I'm building the next version." You don't have to know every step, just take the first one. Growth will reveal the rest. Reinvention isn't about changing who you are. It's about returning to your core and evolving from there. There's a concept in psychology called cognitive flexibility. It's your ability to switch perspectives when life changes direction. People who thrive through chaos don't think in rigid lines. They see patterns, possibilities, and paths others can't. They don't say, "This shouldn't be happening." They say, "Since it's happening, how do I make it serve me?" That's flow, the art of being both grounded and fluid at the same time. It's when your inner peace stays steady, even when your environment spins. It's when you can bend without breaking. And here's the paradox. Flexibility doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. Because while rigid people shatter under pressure, flexible ones transform it into progress. Train your mind to be like water. Water never loses its power, it simply changes shape. Every crisis carries two faces, danger and opportunity. Most people only see the first. The unstoppable ones, they look for the second. During economic collapse, new businesses are born. During heartbreak, people rediscover themselves. During loss, purpose is reborn. Chaos is not the enemy. It's the sculptor of destiny. When everything falls apart, something is being cleared away, so something greater can rise. Don't curse the storm, use it to wash away what no longer serves you. Ask yourself, what if this chaos isn't a punishment, but a preparation? Every setback you survive adds a new layer of strength. Every adaptation builds new muscles of resilience. So stop asking for an easier path. Pray instead for a stronger spirit. That's how warriors are made. When you master adaptability, you gain a power most people never touch, the ability to start over without losing yourself. You become immune to fear. You stop clinging to identities, titles, or circumstances. You realize your true strength doesn't come from what you have, but from what you can become. That's freedom. When you know you can rebuild, change loses its power over you. You become fluid, unstoppable, unbreakable. Every version of you, the dreamer, the fighter, the learner, the healer, merges into one force, the reinvented self. And that self? That's the one who can walk through fire and come out shining brighter. The world around you will keep changing. But you? You'll keep evolving. Because adaptability isn't survival. It's transformation in motion. Repeat this with me. I am fluid. I am flexible. I adapt, I evolve, I rise. Change is not my enemy, it's my invitation to grow. Every change you face is a classroom. Every challenge, a teacher. Every ending, a beginning in disguise. The people who master change master life. And you were never meant to stay the same. You were meant to transform. So when life shifts, don't resist it, dance with it. Flow with it. Grow through it. Because the more you adapt, the more unstoppable you become. Chapter 9, Habit of Courage, Taking Aligned Risks. Every great story you've ever heard begins with a moment of fear. Not comfort. Not certainty. Fear. Nelson Mandela once said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." That's what separates the extraordinary from the average. Not who's fearless, but who acts despite the fear. Courage is the ignition key of success. You can have vision, you can have talent, you can even have faith, but without courage, none of it moves. Because life rewards movement. And movement demands bravery. Pause for a moment. What dream have you been postponing because fear has disguised itself as logic? What risk have you been overthinking while someone else simply decided to go for it? Let's uncover how to awaken your habit of courage, the kind that doesn't wait for permission, doesn't beg for certainty, and doesn't crumble under fear. Fear is not your enemy, it's your compass. It shows you where the edges of your comfort zone are drawn. But not every fear deserves your obedience. There's protective fear, the one that keeps you from running into fire or jumping off a cliff. And then there's paralyzing fear, the one that stops you from applying for that job, starting that business, or saying what's really in your heart. You must learn to differentiate them. Protective fear keeps you safe. Paralyzing fear keeps you small. And here's the truth. The moment you face paralyzing fear, it begins to shrink. But when you avoid it, it multiplies in the dark corners of your mind. So the question is, which fear are you feeding? Here's a secret most high performers know. They're scared too. The difference? They've made peace with fear. They don't wait for fear to vanish. They walk with it. When you see fear as a sign of growth, it loses its power to control you. Every "what if I fail" becomes "what if I fly." Every "I'm not ready" becomes "I'm ready to learn." Think of courage as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Your first act of courage may make your voice tremble, but the next one will make it roar. Start seeing fear as your training partner, not your opponent. It's not there to stop you, it's there to prepare you. Courage isn't recklessness. It's alignment. It's saying yes to what feels right in your soul, even when your mind shakes with doubt. Look at Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Malala Yousafzai, or Steve Jobs. Every one of them took aligned risks. They didn't move blindly. They moved boldly with purpose. Being courageous doesn't mean you burn all bridges. It means you build new ones in the direction of your highest calling. Ask yourself before any big decision, is this risk aligned with my purpose? Does it expand my growth or feed my fear? If I do this, who will I become? Because the right risks don't just change your circumstances, they transform your character. Overthinking is the graveyard of dreams. It convinces you to wait until you're ready, and ready never comes. Here's how you break that loop. Step 1. Name the fear. Say it out loud. Don't let it hide in the dark. Step 2. Shrink it. Ask, what's the worst that could actually happen? Then list the real consequences. 90% of the time, they're not as catastrophic as your mind imagines. Step 3. Move, immediately. Take one small, visible action within 20 seconds of deciding. Make the call. Send the email. Write the first line. That's what I call the 20-second rule of brave action. Why 20 seconds? Because that's the window before your brain talks you out of greatness. Courage lives in that 20-second window. Hesitation kills it. That racing heart before a presentation? That tight chest before a leap? It's not fear, it's energy. Your body isn't warning you, it's preparing you. Shift your inner dialogue. Instead of saying, "I'm nervous," say, "I'm ready." The same physiological reaction that happens in anxiety also happens in excitement. The only difference is the story you attach to it. The next time you feel the surge, smile. Tell yourself, this is what power feels like. That's how champions use fear as fuel. Remember this, every breakthrough begins with one brave decision. Not a perfect plan. Not a guarantee. Just courage, for 20 seconds. 20 seconds to say yes. 20 seconds to send the message. 20 seconds to change your life. Once you cross that invisible line, momentum takes over. And momentum, my friend, is unstoppable. So when you feel that tremor of hesitation, don't wait for courage to arrive. You create it. In motion. Take a deep breath. Now say this with conviction. Fear is not my enemy, it's my signal for growth. I move with faith, I act with courage, and I live with boldness. I am the kind of person who does the brave thing anyway. Remember, every act of courage plants a seed of confidence. And every seed of confidence grows into unstoppable power. The world doesn't need another person waiting for the right moment. It needs you right now, taking the right step. You don't need to be fearless to win. You just need to be brave for 20 seconds. And that's enough to change everything. Chapter 10. The Habit of Connection. Every mountain of success is climbed with many hands, some pulling you up, some walking beside you, some cheering from below. You may begin the journey alone, but you can't rise alone. Pause for a moment, look at every world changer, every visionary, every story of greatness. Steve Jobs had Wozniak. Serena Williams had Venus. Oprah had Maya Angelou. Even legends need ladders, and ladders are made of people. In a world that glorifies independence, real power lies in interdependence. Because no matter how driven, talented, or disciplined you are, if your environment doesn't grow with you, it will eventually choke you. So if you truly want to fast-track success, stop asking, "How can I do this alone?" and start asking, "Who can I do this with?" That question changes everything. Success is never a solo performance. It's a symphony, and your growth depends on the orchestra around you. The myth of the lone genius is just that, a myth. Behind every individual breakthrough is a web of support, mentorship, and belief. Connection multiplies your potential. It's the invisible current that powers every great achievement. When you surround yourself with people who challenge your thinking, expand your vision, and hold you accountable, you grow faster, stronger, and deeper. But here's the secret. Connection isn't about collecting contacts. It's about cultivating relationships. It's not who you know, it's who you grow with. You don't need a massive network. You need a meaningful one. A circle of minds that ignite yours. A tribe that speaks the same language of growth. Because the truth is, your circle will either accelerate your destiny or anchor your potential. You attract what you are, not what you want. If you crave high-value relationships, become a high-value person first. Be the kind of energy others feel safe, inspired, and empowered around. Show up with integrity. Be consistent. Keep your word, not just when it's convenient, but when it's costly. People remember how you made them feel far longer than what you said. High-caliber individuals are drawn to authenticity. They can smell ego, manipulation, and desperation from a mile away. But they are magnetized by honesty, growth, and genuine purpose. So stop chasing validation and start embodying value. Because when you radiate excellence, you won't need to chase connections. Excellence will draw them to you. And when those people show up, nurture them. The right relationships don't just happen. They're built with intention, patience, and care. Every successful connector lives by one powerful truth. You must give before you gain. That's the law of reciprocity, the spiritual gravity of human connection. You want opportunities? Create them for others. You want support? Be the one who shows up first. You want to be remembered? Help someone when no one else is watching. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Because energy circulates. What you give out always finds its way back, multiplied. Look at great leaders. They build bridges before they cross them. They plant seeds in people without demanding instant fruit. That's how legacy is built. That's how influence grows. When you make others feel seen, valued, and empowered, you become unforgettable. Because people never forget where they bloomed first. So before you ask, "What can I get from this person?" pause and ask, "What can I give?" That's the real power move. Trust is the currency of connection, and you earn it through consistency. It's not built through one grand gesture, but through small moments of reliability repeated over time. Be someone whose presence brings peace, not pressure. Someone whose words match their actions, even when no one's watching. Influence without authenticity is manipulation. Authenticity without action is emptiness. But when you align your truth with consistent behavior, you become magnetic. People will start to trust your energy before your words. That's how true leaders are born, not from titles, but from trust. When people know you genuinely care, they'll open doors you didn't even know existed. Because loyalty cannot be bought, it's earned through presence, respect, and heart. If you want to grow faster, find someone who has already walked the road you're trying to travel. Mentorship compresses decades into days. It's wisdom without the wounds. A mentor gives you perspective. They help you see the mountain from the sky while you're still climbing it. But mentorship is a two-way street. You must be teachable. Ego blocks blessings. Curiosity multiplies them. And while mentors guide you from ahead, your environment shapes you from around. You cannot grow in soil that resists your roots. If the people around you constantly doubt your dreams, downplay your potential, or drain your energy, that's not your tribe, that's your trap. You don't need to cut everyone off, but you do need to rise selectively. Stay kind, but guard your energy like gold. Because every conversation is either feeding your fire or pouring water on it. Not everyone deserves access to your spirit. Some people admire your light until it reminds them of their darkness. Protect your peace. Protect your time. Protect your purpose. You can love people without letting them drain you. You can be kind without being available to chaos. Every yes to the wrong energy is a no to your destiny. So curate your circle. Choose people who speak life, not fear. Those who challenge you to grow, not compete with you to shrink. Remember, proximity is power. The closer you stand to light, the brighter you become. And the closer you stand to darkness, the more it clouds your path. So ask yourself often, does my circle reflect where I'm going or where I've been? Because your environment will either elevate you or erode you, there is no middle ground. Take a breath. Feel this truth sink deep. I am not meant to do life alone. I attract people who expand my potential and align with my purpose. I give freely, love boldly, and protect my energy fiercely. My connections are bridges, and I am building an empire of impact. Success is not a solo act, it's a collective awakening. So go out there and connect. Not for approval, not for gain, but because iron sharpens iron, and your light shines brightest when it reflects off others. Your next breakthrough may not come from what you know, but from who you're willing to grow with. Chapter 11, Habit of Service, Success with Soul. There's a moment, quiet but defining, when success stops being about you and starts flowing through you. It's the moment you realize your achievements mean nothing if they don't elevate someone else's life. Because true success isn't about accumulation. It's about contribution. You can have the money, the recognition, the titles, and still feel empty. But when your success becomes a tool to serve others, something awakens in your spirit. It's the spark of legacy, the heartbeat of greatness. Pause for a second, breathe this in. You are not here just to make a living. You are here to make a difference. Society tells you success is about climbing higher, earning more, being seen. But what if success is really about how many people you lift as you climb? Every truly fulfilled person knows this truth. Service is the highest form of success. Because serving doesn't deplete you, it expands you. When you give from your soul, life gives back in ways money can't measure. It's the divine exchange, the energy of abundance moving through your purpose. Think about Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Elon Musk, or Oprah Winfrey. Different paths, same principle. They built impact, not just income. They turned their gifts into bridges for others to cross. That's what makes success sustainable. Because when your why includes others, you'll never run out of fuel. Service keeps your success grounded. It keeps ego in check and vision alive. Because no matter how far you rise, you'll always remember why you started. Here's something most people never understand. Giving doesn't drain you, it charges you. When you help others, your body literally releases serotonin and oxytocin, the chemicals of happiness and connection. Your nervous system calms. Your energy expands. You feel alive because your soul is doing what it was designed to do, to give. Think about the times you helped someone, gave advice, shared knowledge, supported a friend, or inspired a stranger. Remember that light feeling afterward? That wasn't coincidence. That was alignment. Serving others aligns you with the deepest laws of the universe. What you give away in faith multiplies in return. And it's not always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's a kind word, a small act, a silent prayer. Sometimes the service is invisible, but the energy it releases echoes forever. So don't wait until you make it to give back. Give where you are with what you have right now. Because purpose doesn't wait for perfect timing. It's born in your willingness to act with love today. There's a fire that burns hotter than ambition. It's purpose-driven ambition. Ambition says, I want to succeed. Purpose says, I want to make success matter. When your goals serve something larger than yourself, every step becomes sacred. You stop chasing validation and start creating value. You stop comparing and start contributing. Purpose-driven people work harder, not because they have to, but because they get to. Their vision isn't about ego, it's about impact. Look at someone like Muhammad Ali. He didn't just fight in the ring, he fought for a cause. Or Malala Yousafzai. She turned her pain into a platform for millions of girls to find their voice. That's the difference between achievement and awakening. When your life starts blessing others, you become unstoppable. Because passion burns out. Purpose doesn't. Everyone has a gift. Yes, you too. Maybe it's your voice, your creativity, your empathy, your ability to teach, build, lead, or listen. That gift isn't random. It's your assignment. And when you use it to serve others, it transforms from talent into light. Your gift was never meant to be hidden under fear or perfectionism. It was meant to illuminate something in the world that only you can. Don't underestimate small impact. One voice can heal. One word can guide. One act can ripple through generations. So ask yourself, how can I turn my skill, my story, or my struggle into service? Because your greatest pain often contains your greatest purpose. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to show up with love, courage, and intention. That's how your gift becomes a ministry of transformation, no matter your profession or platform. There's a divine equation that governs all growth. You rise by lifting others. The more people you help, the more the universe expands your capacity to help. It's like a spiritual echo. Every time you pour into someone, that energy returns multiplied. That's why the most fulfilled people are also the most generous. They understand that success that stops with you, dies with you. But success that flows through you, lives forever. When you commit to helping others grow, you create a legacy far beyond your lifetime. Your impact becomes immortal. Service doesn't make you smaller. It makes you limitless. Because when you lift others, you don't lose power, you create more of it. And one day, you'll look around and realize, your service became your success story. Your legacy was never about what you built, it was about who you built up. There's a transformation that happens when you shift your focus from me to we. When you stop asking, what can I gain? And start asking, what can I give? That's when your spirit evolves from successful to significant. Self-focused growth may bring comfort, but world-focused growth brings fulfillment. You stop living for applause and start living for alignment. You stop chasing attention and start chasing contribution. The truth is, you can only find yourself by losing yourself in service to something greater. Because the highest purpose of power is to empower. So whatever you do, business, art, teaching, parenting, leadership, do it with soul. Let your excellence become an act of love. Let your work become worship. And when you give from that place, not for status, not for validation, but from overflow, you'll realize something profound. Service is not sacrifice. It's expansion. Take this in. You are not small. You are not ordinary. You are a vessel of impact. The world doesn't need another influencer. It needs an uplifter. One heart on fire can light up 1,000 more. I serve from strength, not scarcity. My success is not mine alone. It's the sum of the lives I've touched. I give with purpose. I rise with grace. I shine with service. Success built on ego fades. Success built on service endures. So from today forward, make this your vow. Whatever I build, I'll build with love. Whoever I meet, I'll lift higher. And wherever I go, I'll leave light behind. Because success with soul isn't what you achieve. It's what you awaken in others. Chapter 12, The Habit of Reflection, Growing Beyond Achievement. There's a sound that every truly great person learns to listen to. It's not applause. It's not the crowd. It's the silence after the victory. In that silence, you meet yourself. You hear the truth beneath the noise, the quiet whisper that asks, am I still aligned with who I want to become? You see, achievement without reflection is like running fast in the wrong direction. You can reach the top of the mountain and still feel lost. But reflection, that sacred pause, it's where your growth becomes wisdom. It's where success turns into significance. And where your future gets forged in self-awareness. Pause, breathe. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is stop. We live in a world addicted to movement. More goals. More hustle. More noise. But what if progress isn't always about doing more? What if it's about becoming more? Reflection is not a slowdown. It's a recalibration. It's how you align your outer actions with your inner truth. The greatest performers, leaders, and visionaries all know this. They carve out time to think, to write, to ask themselves the hard questions. Steve Jobs would often take long, silent walks, not to plan his next product, but to listen to his own mind. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in a cell, yet came out more centered, more powerful, more grounded in purpose than when he went in. They understood something simple yet profound. Without reflection, success becomes shallow. But with reflection, even setbacks become sacred teachers. Because when you pause and look within, you see patterns. You catch the self-sabotage before it repeats. You learn, you adapt, and you evolve. That's how greatness sustains itself, not through constant acceleration, but through deliberate alignment. Let's be honest, it's easy to confuse visibility with value. We live in a culture obsessed with showing rather than becoming. But applause fades. Likes fade. The noise fades. What stays is peace. Inner peace is the highest form of success. Because when your soul is calm, you're untouchable. You can win without arrogance. You can lose without despair. You can be still, and yet completely unstoppable. That's the paradox of true power. It's quiet. It's calm. It's steady. The loudest person in the room is often the least centered. But the one who's done the inner work, who's faced their doubts, studied their scars, and chosen peace, that person radiates something different. Presence. Reflection builds that presence. It reminds you that no achievement can fill a heart that's not at ease with itself. So ask yourself, not how much did I do today, but how deeply did I grow today? How honest was I with myself? How peaceful did I feel at the end of the day? Because the measure of success isn't your schedule. It's your state of being. Here's the irony. Success can be as dangerous as failure, if it makes you forget who you are. When life starts to move fast, the money, the recognition, the spotlight, you need an anchor. Something to keep your feet on the ground while your dreams take flight. Reflection is that anchor. It's the daily practice of checking in with your soul. It's looking at your victories and asking, did I grow from this, or did I just get more comfortable? Athletes do it after every game. Writers do it after every book. Pilots do it after every flight. They call it a debrief, a reflection. You need one for your life too. Take 5 minutes at the end of each day to rewind your mind. Ask, what did I do well today? What drained me? What inspired me? What can I improve tomorrow? Simple questions. But over time, they make you bulletproof. Because reflection keeps you humble in success, resilient in failure, and hungry in both. The moment you stop reflecting, ego takes the wheel, and that's when even the strongest lose their way. Growth requires release. And reflection is how you let go of the person you no longer need to be. There's an older version of you that fought to survive, to prove, to chase. Honor that version, but don't stay there. Every new level of your life demands a new level of you. And you can't meet the future still wearing yesterday's fears. Reflection is like shedding skin. Uncomfortable, yes, but necessary for renewal. It's how you release old stories, old identities, and outdated beliefs. The one who was afraid. The one who doubted. The one who settled. Thank them, they carried you this far. But now it's time for rebirth. The you that's emerging needs space, space that only reflection can create. So take time often to look back, not with regret, but with reverence. Not to relive, but to release. Because letting go isn't losing, it's upgrading. Life is a cycle of becoming. You're never done. You're never finished. You're a masterpiece in motion. The habit of reflection keeps you in that sacred rhythm, the rhythm of renewal. You win, you learn, you grow. You pause, realign, and rise again. That's how you evolve with grace, not in leaps, but in layers. When you reflect, you stay conscious. You stop drifting. You start directing. You realize that success is not a destination, it's a state of continuous becoming. Every day, life hands you lessons disguised as moments. Reflection is how you collect those lessons and turn them into wisdom. That's how ordinary days become extraordinary growth. And that's how achievers become masters. Because masters don't just act, they reflect, refine, and rise. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the stillness behind the sound of my voice. That silence, that's your soul speaking. You don't have to chase every goal like it's a lifeline. You just have to listen long enough to hear what your life is really asking for. I pause to realign. I honor my journey with awareness. Every reflection refines my greatness. You are not who you were last year. You are not even who you were last week. You are evolving, moment by moment, into your highest self. So keep moving forward. But remember, every true breakthrough begins in stillness. Because growth isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the quiet moments between victories. Pause. Reflect. Realign. Rise. That's how you grow beyond achievement. That's how you become unstoppable. Chapter 13. The Habit of Gratitude. The Frequency of Fulfillment. There's a frequency that rewires everything. It changes how you see, how you feel, and how you attract. It's not ambition. It's not willpower. It's gratitude. Gratitude is not weakness. It's not soft. It's the fire that melts resistance and the magnet that draws miracles. Think about it. How many times have you wanted more, chased more, prayed for more, only to miss what's already in your hands? Gratitude doesn't mean you stop striving. It means you stop starving for validation and start vibrating with appreciation. Because the truth is, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And gratitude is the highest frequency of being alive. Pause, breathe, feel that for a moment. You're already standing on a floor made of blessings. Now let's rise even higher. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It's an energetic law. It shifts your mind from scarcity to sufficiency, from I don't have enough to I am enough. And that shift changes everything. Here's the psychology behind it. Your brain can't process fear and gratitude at the same time. When you focus on gratitude, your nervous system calms, your heart opens, and your focus sharpens. You start noticing opportunities instead of obstacles. The science is simple but profound. Gratitude rewires your brain for positivity, rewires your emotions for peace, and rewires your life for progress. But beyond science, there's soul. Gratitude keeps you humble when you're winning and hopeful when you're struggling. It keeps your spirit unbreakable when the world feels uncertain. Even in darkness, gratitude whispers, "This too is teaching me something. This too is preparing me for more." And that's why gratitude attracts abundance, because it aligns you with growth, with purpose, with faith. When you are grateful, you're no longer grasping, you're glowing. You radiate a frequency that tells the universe, "I'm ready for more." Look back on your life for a moment. The heartbreaks, the failures, the closed doors. At the time, they felt like endings, but weren't they really beginnings? The job you didn't get that led you to your true calling. The relationship that broke you but also woke you. The mistake that humbled you and built your strength. Gratitude reframes your story. It turns pain into power. It allows you to look back, not with regret, but with reverence, because even your storms were sculpting your strength. This is where emotional mastery begins. When you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What did this awaken in me?" your whole life transforms. Everything that once felt like loss becomes a lesson. Every struggle becomes a seed. You start realizing that life has always been happening for you, not to you. So go back in your memory and thank every broken road that led you here. Because gratitude is the bridge between your past pain and your future power. Now, here's where gratitude becomes a habit, not a reaction, but a discipline. Anyone can be grateful when things go right. But true power? That's being grateful when things are rough. When you're stuck, broke, or heartbroken, gratitude becomes your spiritual armor. It keeps your energy from collapsing under pressure. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, a man lost his entire business overnight. Everything. Instead of cursing his luck, he started every morning listing 3 things he still had: his health, his family, his drive. Within months, his mindset shifted so radically that he built something bigger, stronger, and more fulfilling than what he lost. That's the power of gratitude. It doesn't deny reality, it redefines it. It gives you the resilience to rebuild, the clarity to refocus, and the peace to keep moving forward. So when life feels heavy, pause and ask, what can I still be thankful for right now? Even if it's just breath, even if it's just another sunrise. Because gratitude doesn't need perfection to thrive, only perspective. Gratitude changes the energy in a room, and it changes the energy within you. Try this. Next time you feel anxious, stop and name 3 things you're grateful for. Instantly, your breathing slows. Your focus clears. Your energy rises. Because gratitude flips the switch from survival to creation. It's not just positive thinking, It's powerful frequency alignment. It tells your subconscious, I already have enough to win. That simple reframe unlocks confidence. You move differently when you feel full. You stop chasing approval and start attracting alignment. In relationships, gratitude softens hearts. In business, it builds trust. In your personal journey, it restores joy. You become a light, one that others feel drawn to, not because you're perfect, but because you radiate peace. Gratitude isn't passive. It's active energy. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Here's where you make gratitude practical, a habit that reshapes your life from the inside out. Start your mornings with a gratitude list. 3 simple things you're thankful for. Not just material things, but moments. A smile. A song. The ability to breathe deeply. At night, before you sleep, reflect on one good thing that happened during the day, no matter how small. Train your brain to notice the good before it notices the gap. You can also practice spoken gratitude. Tell people thank you, out loud. Appreciate them for who they are, not just what they do. It creates emotional wealth in every relationship you touch. And here's a secret. When gratitude becomes a state instead of a task, your energy becomes magnetic. Opportunities flow. Ideas flow. Peace flows. Because gratitude isn't just a morning ritual, it's a living rhythm. The ultimate goal of gratitude is overflow. It's not just feeling thankful, it's becoming thankfulness in motion. You start living from abundance, not anxiety. You start giving from fullness, not fear. A grateful heart becomes a magnet for miracles, not because the world suddenly changes, but because you do. You begin to see beauty in places you once ignored. You find lessons in people you once judged. You find purpose in moments you once rushed through. This is the art of fulfillment, not chasing the next high, but feeling alive right now. When you live with gratitude, your success becomes more soulful. Your drive becomes more joyful. And your journey becomes an unfolding masterpiece of grace. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. You already have more than enough. More strength than you realize. More grace than you've used. More blessings than you've counted. Gratitude is my power. I attract abundance by appreciating what I already have. My heart overflows, and from that overflow I rise. Never forget this. Gratitude is not what you do after you win. It's how you win. It's how you sustain the fire without burning out. Every sunrise is a new invitation to give thanks. Every breath is proof that life still believes in you. So live thankful. Speak thankful. Be thankful. Because gratitude doesn't just change your mood. It changes your frequency. And that frequency is the sound of fulfillment. Chapter 14. The Habit of Faith. Trusting the process. There comes a point in every great pursuit when logic runs out of road. When the data doesn't add up. When your plans crumble, your timeline collapses, and every door that should open slams shut. That's when most people quit, because they believe only in what they can see. But those who rise higher, those who break through, they walk by something far more powerful than sight. They walk by faith. Faith is not passive hope. It's not sitting back and waiting for a miracle. Faith is a warrior's stance. It's standing tall in the storm and saying, even if I don't see it yet, I know it's on its way. Think of every world changer you've ever admired, from Elon Musk sleeping on factory floors to Oprah being told she wasn't fit for television. They didn't make it because everything went according to plan. They made it because when logic failed, faith led. Faith whispers, keep going. Even when the world shouts, you're done. There will be seasons when life feels like pure chaos. When you've done everything right, yet everything still feels wrong. You'll question yourself. You'll question your path. You'll wonder if the universe forgot your name. But hear me, this is where growth hides. The silence, the waiting, the confusion, it's not punishment, it's preparation. Every seed spends time buried before it breaks ground. You're not buried. You're being planted. When nothing makes sense, remind yourself, the process is working even when it's invisible. Keep showing up. Keep doing your part. Faith isn't pretending everything is perfect. It's trusting that your persistence will eventually meet its moment. Breathe. Realign. Keep the vision alive. Because often, Right after your hardest trial comes your greatest turning point. There's a rhythm to life, a divine current that moves things forward even when we can't trace it. Sometimes, what feels like rejection is just redirection. What feels like a setback is actually a setup. When Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, he thought it was the end. But that exile birthed Pixar, and a new version of him that would later revolutionize Apple itself. The invisible hand is real. You can't always see it, but you can feel it when you stay aligned with your purpose and values. Faith keeps you connected to that current. It reminds you that your life is part of a much bigger design, one you're still unfolding into. So stop forcing the timeline. Stop doubting every delay. Your growth is guided, not random. Faith doesn't mean sitting still. It means doing everything in your power, and then releasing control of what's beyond it. That's the art, the balance between effort and surrender. You plant the seeds. You water the soil. But you don't tug on the roots to make them grow faster. Most burnout doesn't come from hard work. It comes from the illusion that we can control everything. When you learn to do your best and let go of the rest, you find peace in motion. Faith is action with trust. It's movement without anxiety. It's the calm confidence that says, I'm not behind, I'm being aligned. Every major success story begins in the unseen. The vision is always born long before the results. Michael Jordan believed he was great long before anyone else did. Nelson Mandela saw freedom long before South Africa did. You must believe before you see. Because the mind can only create what it can imagine. If you keep doubting, you block the flow. If you keep believing, you build momentum in ways the world can't yet measure. Faith turns the impossible into inevitable. So speak it. Visualize it. Walk as if it's already done, because in the realm of faith, it is. When you live with faith, fear loses its grip. You stop overthinking outcomes. You stop chasing validation. You start moving from peace instead of panic. That's the ultimate freedom, knowing that no matter what happens, you are guided, supported, and strong enough to rise again. Faith doesn't mean the path will be easy. It means you'll be unshakable no matter how hard it gets. When you live in that space, you become magnetic. Opportunities find you. The right people align with you. Doors open that logic could never explain. Because you've tuned yourself to the frequency of trust, and that frequency moves mountains. Take this with you. Faith isn't waiting for proof, it's becoming the proof. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Whisper to yourself, everything is unfolding in perfect timing. I trust the process. Then get up, and move forward like someone who knows the universe is already on their side. Because it is. And so are you. Chapter 15, The Habit of Legacy, Becoming the Proof that it's possible. There comes a moment, somewhere between your biggest win and your next challenge, when you realize success isn't the finish line. It's the foundation. True greatness begins when you stop living just for yourself, and start living for something larger. Because at the end of the day, all the achievements, the money, the milestones, they fade. What remains is the mark you left on others. Legacy isn't about statues or headlines. It's about impact. It's about being the spark that helps someone else believe, if they did it, maybe I can too. When you live beyond yourself, life stops feeling like a race, and starts feeling like a ripple. You become part of something timeless. Pause for a moment. Think of someone whose name still echoes in your heart. A mentor. A parent. A stranger who believed in you when you didn't. That's legacy. It's not about being remembered. It's about making something worth remembering. Every scar you carry has power. Every failure, every comeback, every I almost gave up, someone out there needs to hear it. People don't connect to perfection, they connect to proof. When you share your journey, the real one, the messy one, you give others permission to rise. You show them that growth is not a straight line, but a battlefield of resilience and faith. Think about it. Nelson Mandela didn't inspire millions because his life was easy. He inspired because his struggle became a story of endurance. He turned pain into purpose. You have that same potential. Your story could be the light someone else finds in their darkest hour. You don't need a stage, a following, or a title. All you need is truth, spoken with heart. When your life says, I made it through. Someone else whispers, then I will too. That's legacy. That's how one life changes 1,000. Ask yourself this: what will remain when I'm gone? That's not a morbid question, it's a powerful one. Because when you start thinking legacy, your decisions change. You stop chasing applause and start building foundations. Legacy means creating something that still breathes when you're no longer here. A business that uplifts people. A message that echoes through generations. A mindset that transforms your family forever. Steve Jobs didn't just build a company, he built a culture of innovation that outlived him. Mother Teresa didn't just serve the poor, she built movements of compassion that continue decades later. You may not change the entire world, but you can change your world, your circle, your community, your lineage. You can start a ripple today that outlasts your lifetime. And when that ripple grows, when your name becomes a story others tell to ignite belief, that's the kind of immortality that matters. Courage is contagious. When one person dares to live boldly, others find permission to do the same. Every time you choose faith over fear, action over hesitation, growth over comfort, you send a signal to the world: it's possible. You have no idea who's watching your story right now. Maybe a friend quietly admiring your discipline. Maybe a stranger following your progress online. Maybe your child, learning how to dream by watching you refuse to quit. Your courage becomes their compass. The ripple effect is real. Every brave decision you make sends waves you'll never fully see, but they're moving, shaping, awakening. So live courageously. Not just for you, but for the hundreds who will rise because you did. The most powerful people don't talk about greatness, they embody it. They don't shout their message, they live it. Legacy is not about preaching motivation, it's about becoming motivation. It's about being the kind of person whose actions speak so loudly that words become unnecessary. You teach discipline by how you move. You teach integrity by what you choose when no one's watching. You teach resilience by how you rise after every fall. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. They remember the fire in your example. So before you try to change others, become the proof. Be the living embodiment of what's possible. Let your life do the talking. Because the most inspiring sermon is a life well lived. You were not born to drift through life quietly. You were born to create echoes. Somewhere deep inside you there's a calling, a whisper that says, you're meant for more. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. You were placed here to contribute, to create, to elevate others through your journey. Your legacy begins the moment you decide to stop playing small and start walking in purpose. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You are right on time, for the destiny only you can fulfill. So write that book. Start that movement. Teach that lesson. Live in such a way that long after you're gone, people will still feel your impact. Because that's what unstoppable people do. They don't just succeed. They shift the world forward. Take this truth with you. Legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you leave within others. Breathe deeply. Feel the power in your heartbeat. That's your proof you're still part of something greater. From this moment, live not just to succeed. Live to sign your name on the hearts of others. Be the proof. Be the light. Be the legacy. Because the world is waiting to feel your fire. Chapter 16. Rise again and again. Let's get something straight. You were never meant to be average. You were not born to blend in. You were born to break through. Somewhere along the way, the world may have convinced you to dim your fire. They told you to be realistic. They told you to slow down. But your soul, it never agreed. Because deep down you know there's more inside you. You feel it in your bones, that quiet hunger for greatness that refuses to die, no matter how many times life knocks you down. Every setback, every heartbreak, every failure, they didn't destroy you. They revealed you. Average people stop when it hurts. Unstoppable people rise again. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you powerful. You don't quit. You become. Pause for a moment. Think of all the times you were sure it was over, yet somehow you rose. That's your proof. You were never average. You were built for resurrection. Here's the truth most people never understand. Success is not a destination. It's a becoming. Every day, you're either evolving or dissolving. There is no standing still. The moment you stop growing, you start fading. And the universe, it doesn't reward comfort. It rewards movement. Look at nature. Rivers flow, seasons change, trees grow or wither. Everything alive is in motion. So why do we think we can stay the same and still expect to rise? The ones who win in life are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who never stop becoming. You are a work in progress, and that's your strength. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep moving forward. Every version of you is just a chapter in a greater story. And every chapter of that story demands a stronger, wiser, bolder you. So stop mourning who you were. Honor who you're becoming. Every scar, every loss, every lesson, they're all sculpting the masterpiece you were meant to be. You will fall. You will fail. You will get knocked flat sometimes, harder than you ever imagined. But here's the secret. It's not the fall that defines you. It's how fast you get up. Every failure carries a seed of wisdom. Every rejection is a redirection. Every disappointment is divine preparation. Falling forward means you don't let the pain paralyze you, you let it propel you. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah was fired from her first TV job. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before the light bulb finally worked. But here's what separates them from the rest. They refused to stay down. The pain that broke others built them. And it can build you too, if you let it. So don't fear failure, study it. Don't curse the fall, use it. Every time you rise after falling, your foundation gets stronger. Every time you stand back up, you grow roots that no storm can tear out. You're not falling behind, you're falling forward. Every mistake, every setback, every sleepless night, it's pushing you closer to your highest self. Listen carefully. Your story isn't over. Not even close. Whatever has happened, the loss, the delay, the betrayal, it does not define you. It refines you. The next chapter of your life doesn't require you to be perfect. It just requires you to begin again. The pen is still in your hand. The fire is still in your chest. The world is still waiting for your next move. You may not see the full path, but take one step. You may not have the confidence yet, but move anyway. Faith isn't knowing the outcome. It's trusting your own comeback. So get up. Shake off the dust. Look life in the eye and say, I'm not finished. Because you're not. You are still rising. And every time you rise, you prove that purpose beats pain. Take this truth and etch it into your heart. Falling down is life. Rising again is power. You were never meant to stay broken. You were built to rise, again and again and again. So no matter what has fallen apart, no matter what feels lost, stand tall, breathe deep, and begin again. Your next chapter is waiting. And this time, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. Rise. And show the world what unstoppable looks like.